It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time.
Today it's do or die. Will the NBA basketball season in Memphis come to an end tonight? I don't think so. I think somehow, some way, this is going back to L.A. Game 6. That's where it will probably come to an end. And J-Mo and I are going to sit down and we're going to help the Grizzlies out here. In a minute, we'll give our recommendations on how to beat L.A. in game number 5. Trey Randall from the Showboats is going to join us in about 13 minutes or so. Trey, this is interesting. Trey Randall is, and I'm going to ask him exactly what this means. He is the director of operations for the Hub. He was the director of operations for the entire USFL Hub in Birmingham last year. They sent him to Memphis. He only got 2 teams. It's got to be much easier this year with just Memphis and Houston because they had every team in Birmingham a year ago. We'll see what all of that entails. That might be fun. And what maybe the plans are going to be for the future, because I keep hearing every city is going to have their own team next year, and they're hoping to build and build and build, and Fox is putting up the money to do that, unless, they get killed by all these lawsuits. They already had to pay $787 million to the one voting machine company. There's another one that's suing them for $2 billion. We'll see what happens with all of that. But at this point, they got enough money to spend on the USFL. Pete Pranica is going to join us. We'll get his take on game number 5 tonight at 6:30. That game is on Bally Sports South as well as TNT. And then at 10:45, we will make golf picks. And I must confess to you, the Mexico Open, that field is one of the worst I've seen. If it's not a designated event now, woo, it's a stinker. The way I see it, Rahm and Finau, the 2 favorites, they may be the only ones in the top 50 of the OWGR. Like Patrick Rogers, he's not a top 50 guy, is he?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. I meant to look that up.
No, he's not even top 100.
I mean, the number 4 guy, Ben Martin, is 187. Nikolai Hogard is 122. Byung-Hun An is 43. Bo Hostler's 140. Matt Wallace, where is he? He's not a top 50 guy, I don't think.
No, he's outside top 150.
So really and truly, I believe it's Finau and Rahm, the only top 250 OWGR guys in the field. Wow, that's weak. This is what's going to happen now, right? I mean, look, they even fined Rory McIlroy $3 million for not showing up to what was a designated event because they want all the top guys to be at the designated events. So now if it's not a designated event, you don't have to show up, and look who's not showing up. Everybody. Except for Rahm. You know why Rahm's coming?
Why is that?
Because he's the defending champion. It's supposed to be a great course. And also, by the way, Johnny Lyon will join us, who had a good week last week, although he's still in last place in the picking. And Austin Chin is going to fill in for Mickey Barker, who unfortunately had to be out of town for a funeral. So we'll do that at about 10:45 or so. All right. I guess let's start with stars win games in the NBA, right? Isn't that the way it works? Isn't that what happened last night? You look at the game clinchers, Jokic. I know Murray got them going because they had a terrible start to their game with the Timberwolves. I think they were down 15 at one point at home. And then, was it at home?
For Denver?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
was at home for Denver, yeah.
Because they won in 5, right? So
that's right.
They absolutely went to Jokic down the end. He made a great defensive play to set up his own game winner. I mean, he won the game for them. Kevin Booker, now he got 31 out of Durant, so it was a combination of stars, but it was Booker who got a career-high 47, and the Suns advance over the star-less L.A. Clippers. No George, no Kawhi Leonard. Apparently Kawhi Leonard has torn meniscus. Couldn't go. He played through it one game, and he actually had a really good game. I think he was in the 30s with torn meniscus. The pain was too much, couldn't do it, and they're out. And then Trae Young keeps Atlanta alive in their series with the Celtics, and he's clearly their star. And since Quinn Snyder took over, because there was friction with Trae Young and the past coach, Trae Young is their star, and he won the game for them with a big three in the last 6 seconds, I think, of the game. And so they're still in that. Boston's going to win that series. There's no doubt in my mind. But it's 3-2 now. That was a big shot Trae Young hit last evening. So that sets us up for tonight. Can the Grizzlies stop the LA Stars? And here's what I'll say. My first bit of advice for the Grizzlies in Game 5 tonight is they must stop LeBron from driving. Somehow, some way. If you look at LeBron's numbers, look, if the guy beats you from three-point range, gets really hot, hits 6-7 threes, you're going to lose, okay? But if you look at, even in the series, he has not shot the ball very well from three-point range. I think he was 1 of 7 in the game the other night when he had his 22 and 20. So my suggestion is don't make every effort. I know you want to force him left, not right, which is what tied the game. Look, that was a great shot anyway. I really think Tillman did a pretty good job. There was supposed to be some help defense that came. But if you look at that, Jackson's waiting for him. He's got to make that shot way above the square. That's a really difficult shot. A great player made a great shot in a clutch situation, and that's what happened. My point is, don't let him drive, because he can't be as effective, never has been in his career, from the outside. That's my first thing I would do. I would try to stay even like you did in Game 4 on the boards and points in the paint. I think you won the points in the paint. You were even on the boards or slightly ahead in that regard. Some of that is because Anthony Davis was not that great in that game. He wasn't great in Game 2. You've got to hope that you can stay even with him in that regard. I believe Memphis has to have, from their stars, even offensive balance. I think you got to get points from Bane like you did in the last game, from Ja. And I'm okay if he only gets 19 or 20, as long as he's assisting. And then Triple J's got to maybe be even a little bit more productive than he was in Game 4. Those three. There was a really good assessment by Brevin Knight. I think it was on the broadcast. It could have been with the guys, Greg and Eli, on when they have them on, Monday? Whenever they had them on.
Tuesday, yesterday.
Whatever day it was. And he made this point at one of those broadcasting situations. He said the Grizzlies play so much better when the assist numbers are up. The more the assists, and that's what happened in the game the other night. They had the great first quarter where they took the lead. And then they had that great run in the second quarter. They had more assists in the second quarter, more assists in the third quarter, fourth quarter, where it all went apart. They didn't have a lot of assists. His point was the more the assists, the better. That means you're sharing the ball, more guys are involved. You got to go to your 3 stars. We're talking about what LA's done with complementary players. I think for Memphis, those 3 guys have to deliver if the Grizz are to win. I think you got to get an early lead in this game. That will help get the crowd involved, and that can be a factor. And my last thing is you have to limit fouls. If you look, they did a pretty good job at home. In both games 1 and 2, the foul attempts were absolutely even. There were not that many in the first game. I think it might have been 16 attempts in the first game, 21 in the second. Whatever it was, both teams had the same amount of free throw attempts. In the 2 road games, LA +7 in the first game, +10 in the second. 17 more free throw attempts. You're home. You can't let them have more free throw attempts, which they are good at getting. They draw fouls. They're really good. Davis is one of the best floppers around. And if you touch LeBron, you're going to get something called. But those have to be even at least. Maybe you could get a break, and you haven't had this in the series yet, get more free throw attempts than the Lakers. Those are mine. What do you got?
I really have 2 big ones. Offensively, I think I'm going to play away from the stars. I think the best offense that the Grizzlies have run in the last 2 years, and when they get to those Princeton principles, unfortunately, in this case, that means that Xavier Tillman is going to have the ball facilitating offense every possession, and Desmond Bane is the one initiating the action. So I kind of want Jaren and Ja to be used as like set actions out of timeouts, or maybe your first call or late clock action specifically for Ja. I want them to be last resort type options to really get the offense moving. I think that's when the Grizzlies play their best offense. And defensively, I think there's no way that the Grizzlies can match up with the Lakers. They just can't do it, because if you doubled LeBron or you double Anthony Davis too hard, these role players have been shown to make shots, and then we're sagging too far off of those guys. So my idea would be take a page out of the Heat playbook of defense or the Nick Nurse playbook of defense, and you have to make this game as ugly as possible on defense. I'm talking run zones that you've shown no propensity to run ever before, whether it be 3/4 court, half court, junk up the game, and then once you get to your first double team, if you decide you want to double Anthony Davis on the catch or on the first dribble or foot in the paint, double Anthony Davis, and then scramble from there back into man. But I think this game needs to look ugly as possible because the Grizzlies, quite frankly, are outmatched.
Okay. Love it. That's our advice to Taylor Jenkins. Game 5, and I think both of us think this one will go to the Grizzlies. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. A reminder, the vacation at home sale going on. Man, they are selling some kind of pools, I'm told. Lowest prices in town. You get a free liner upgrade if you purchase during this sale right now. Spas are up to $1,000 off if they're in stock, and they got so many right there. Patio furniture. The place looks so good because of it. They got all of the newest state-of-the-art patio furniture in the house. Play gyms on sale for under $2,000. There is special financing available, and if you mention us, Wolo or Sports 56, you will get half off of installation on anything. And with those play gyms, you definitely want that. That's Family Leisure, I-40 and Wooden Road, and you know our title sponsor forever. It's been Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. GM there is Chris True. He's been around for a long, long time. They call him Coach. He's outstanding, but he's got a guy over the Genesis cars, the luxury cars. His name is Vinny Gerard. And Vinny's got a new deal going on. If you like the smaller sedan, as far as I'm concerned, it's a sports car. It's a rocket, the G70. If you go in, tell Vinny you heard about this. If you go in and you say, I will finance with Genesis, why wouldn't you? It's a fair rate. They will give you $1,000 rebate on that G70. Get luxury, get speed, get $1,000. They're paying you to do business with them at Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, right there at the corner of Highway 78 and the first exit. That is Craft Road. This is our first chance to get to talk with a young man named Trey Randall, who's the Director of Operations for the Memphis hub of the USFL. So I was trying to get to really know all about Trey Randall, and I saw that he played in Lafayette, Louisiana. That is where he played collegiately. So we're going to find out just how old Trey Randall is, because I'm going to ask him, Trey, good morning. Did you play for Southwestern Louisiana? Did you play for Louisiana Lafayette? Or did you play for the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns? Good morning. You there?
Hello. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I don't think you heard that whole intro, but we're trying to guess your age by which era of Southwestern Louisiana did you play? Southwestern Louisiana, Louisiana Lafayette, or just Louisiana?
Oh, Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns.
Louisiana Lafayette. So that was before I started doing games when they were Southwestern Louisiana. So you're kind of
Oh,
like in the middle.
in the middle there, yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure you ate at, what is it, Préjean's? That's one of my favorite Cajun restaurants of all time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I always tell everyone, Louisiana Lafayette, they have some of the best food ever. I love that food.
I agree. I think Lafayette can rival New Orleans when it comes to that. Okay. So tell me about what your job description really is. You are the director of operations for the entire hub, right? So that would mean Memphis and Houston?
Yes, sir. I basically oversee all logistics for our hub, and that would include travel, catering, scheduling, management of our league staff. League staff includes athletic training equipment team, strength and conditioning, and the video department team.
So you're doing that for Memphis and for Houston, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That would sound like a pretty big job. You did it in Birmingham last year. Were you over all the teams in Birmingham or just two of those there?
So last year, I was over all the teams. I was the head of football operations and player personnel. Doug West, he was the director of operations, and Daryl, our president, he was the vice president. So we all worked hand in hand in all 8 teams. We never really say that one person is in charge of. We feel as if we're a family. You know what I mean? We really work really well together, and just excited right now for this season in Memphis. To be honest with you.
All right. So explain to me. I think you were a scout for the CFL. And I know you've been in arena football as well, but you were a scout for the CFL. How did you get this gig? How would they come to you and say, hey, Trey, we want you to do all of these things for 8 teams in one spot?
So I was the director of player personnel. That's where I started off in the indoor league. It was a league. It was a team called the Greenieville. Oh my gosh, I don't even remember the mascot name. It was so far back. But from there, I knew a gentleman by the name of John Murphy. He was the assistant general manager for the Calgary Stampeders. He scouted me when I was in college. And one day he asked me if I wanted to get into scouting. I said, of course. He saw my report. So I started doing player personnel for Calgary. Then I went to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, same thing. And then once I went to the Toronto Argonauts, that's when COVID hit. When COVID hit, there was a gentleman who was our president last year by the name of Brian Woods. And I reached out to Brian and said, hey, this is the situation right now. The CFL is on pause. Would you have anything open for short term? He said, hey, I've got a deal called the Spring League, and I may have we may have a partnership with Fox. And for me, to be honest with you, Dave, I never wanted to be seen as just a football guy. I wanted to, venture out and work in operations as well. So Brian gave me my first opportunity to actually work in football operations. When I worked for Brian, it was in San Antonio, and he just threw it at me. I had 6 teams to myself. He was probably there for 2 days, and he took off, went back to New York, and I said, wow, this is it. I've got to learn on the run. COVID continued to hit. That fall, we went to Orlando. The following year, that's when business picked up. We were in Houston, and we had Fox. Fox was on our side. Everything worked out wonderfully. And here we are now. One day, that summer, actually, Brian said, hey, I've got a big deal going on. It's the USFL. I knew exactly what he was talking about. I was excited from the start. And, now we're rolling.
Why did you choose to leave Birmingham where you could have stayed? They still got 2 teams there to come to Memphis.
Well, we have 4 hubs, and I was asked to come to – I was asked which hub would I like to go to. And to be honest with you, this is the hub I wanted to go to Memphis. I've heard good things about Memphis. We're in Detroit, we're in Canton, and we are in Birmingham. We have 4 directors there, but this is the first place I wanted to go to. I've always heard that this is a sports city, and it shows. When you speak to the community, to the fans here, they're excited. So I think I made a good choice. And as I said previously, we're a family. We're a team here. So whenever I spoke with Daryl and Brian at the time, I told them my passion, where I wanted to be, and they backed me up, and they said, okay, we're going to send you to Memphis. Let's roll with it. So here we are.
So you've got to do 2 teams. How different is it working with, say, Todd Haley as opposed to the head coach of the Houston Gamblers?
You know what? And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I was speaking to Daryl Johnston about this the other day, and I mean no disrespect to any other coach that I've ever worked with. These are the best staffs, both head coaches. Well, I wouldn't say the best. These are some of the best head coaches and coaching staffs that I've ever worked with in my life. They're very understandable. They understand, this is a spring league, what we're trying to do moving forward with this league, and they're outstanding day to day. They, I ask them questions. These are NFL guys, so I'll ask them questions, and they'll come in there, they'll speak with me. They're just very easygoing. They're people. Anyone can just walk up to them on the street and they'll have a full conversation with them. They're fantastic, and our players are fantastic as well. I always brag on our players. All the time. If I go anywhere, I say we have just awesome guys. They don't get in any trouble. They don't talk back or anything like that. Everyone has their days. We're pretty much living together, but I think I've been blessed with an awesome group, to be honest with you.
Well, I'll confess, in a Memphis restaurant that is not a sponsor, so I'm not going to give them pub, but prior to the season, I ran into some Houston gamblers. And one of them was a player at Mississippi State. And I'm telling you, these guys were great guys, happy to be here, really excited about the league. And so that was kind of cool. I don't, there haven't been that many games played, so I haven't had a chance to really see the Houston gamblers, but I sure did like those guys. How much emphasis is there on the team that is really not the home team? How difficult is that working for them as opposed to the showboats that are getting all the pub?
Their understanding, and I always, whenever we speak about or someone asks me about the showboats, I always make sure to mention the gamblers. You know what I mean? They're in our league too. They're in this city as well. I understand, going forward, this will be the home team because we plan on being here for an extended period of time, forever, most likely. But I'll always mention the gamblers. I mean, they're awesome. They understand the situation, but no one sees it as inside of our building. We don't see it as the showboats or the show. We see it as the Memphis Showboats and the Houston Gamblers. We are one. We are the United States Football League. And, we support one another fully.
All right. And so in the future, what's it going to be like? Will each city actually have their own venue and their own place to be? Or will there be hubs for still some more years?
Moving forward, that's the goal. That will happen. We will have, a team in each city. I don't want to go too far into it. I love my job, so I don't want to, reveal too much on Fox's end. But for the most part, yes, moving forward, we would love to have owners and ownership, and then a team in each city. That's the ultimate plan.
All right. Who's the best team that you've seen so far?
Every team in the United States Football League. Everyone.
Come on.
Everyone.
Birmingham doesn't lose
Absolutely.
to the defending champs. You got to give them the nod.
Oh, listen, Zach Potter, he's an awesome general manager. Skip Holtz, he's a wonderful coach, and I know they're returning. Their roster is fantastic. They're always going to have a good roster. But we have, just like last year, we had 51 players get picked up in the National Football League. I mean, it's the same thing this year. Every team is going to be competitive. I understand right now in Memphis, Houston, and the Showboats, they're down 2 games. But I always say you don't really know what you have until the middle of the season, and they're working their tail off. So I'm high on all the teams. And you know what? Me being a former scout, I never put all my eggs on one team, all my eggs in one basket on one team. I love all players and all teams because I'm an evaluator at heart. So I feel as if all of our teams in this league, they're gonna show something this year. I really do feel that way.
All right, last thing, and I'm asking this for clarification, not any specifics, because I know you couldn't say that. When the XFL season is over and their contracts are up with that league, will there be some migration of players? Is it allowed for a USFL team to pick up, say, a star from the XFL to come over and be a part of the last part of the USFL season?
Well, we had Kyle Slaughter. He was actually on one of the XFL teams. He actually just got picked up by the Birmingham Stallions. I don't want to go too far into it, but I don't feel as if that would be please don't take my word for it. And then my boss contacts me and say, Trey, what are you doing on the radio show giving out that information? But I don't feel as if it would be an issue. But as I said, I don't want to give too much up on that.
Right, but
that may not be in my best interest right there to speak on that. I don't.
Okay,
really know much
so
about that.
basically, what's happened is that has already occurred. So the precedent has been set. Trey?
Absolutely. So I don't see it being an issue really going forward. And we're a players league. We invite all players. We just want good football players. And the most part, we want good people off the field. You know what I mean? We want good people in the community, where fans can walk up to them, speak to them. We're people persons. You know what I mean? That's what we want. So we're really excited right now.
Trey Randall, nice talking with you. I'm glad you chose Memphis. Hope you like your experience here. And if Houston moves on, I hope you stay here.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.
You too. That is Trey Randall. He is the Director of Operations for the USFL Memphis Hub, which means the Showboats and the Houston Gamblers. Time to turn on the grit and grind. You know who knows that? You know who wrote that? That's Becky Dinstall at Dinstall's, because they're ready for the watch parties. You can stop by today. Pick up your favorite sweet treats like Cashew Crunch, Turtlettes, maybe the chocolate basketballs they've put together specifically to sweeten this night. It's time, by the way, to thank your office staff. Don't miss Dinstall's special deals, because this is Administrative Professionals Week. So if you've got some office workers that you need to take care of, Cashew Crunch or Turtlettes, those are my two favorite things. By the way, for my birthday, I got both. And I can't tell you which I like better. That's like saying, which kid do you like more? And then there's the fudge, which wins awards. Oh, my gosh. Chocolate-covered strawberries, that would be the greatest way also to say, we love you, administrative professionals. There's assorted chocolates, a whole lot more. Just go any location, downtown, Collierville, Germantown, Laurelwood, where I'm at, or you can go where they make it at Pleasant View. Let's let Dinstall's help you say thanks and go Grizz. We'll pause for a second. Speaking of Grizz, their TV voice, Pete Pranica, joins us in just a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
There are so many ways to buy and sell houses these days. How do you choose? Well, of course, choose the right way with Chet Whitsitt. Chet has over 37 years of experience as both a broker and a sales agent. He's helped lots of people buy and sell homes, and he will help you. It's the right way, and it's that easy. Buying, selling, or referrals, check with Chet at 901-484-5689 and Cry Like Realtors at 901-756-8900. Buying or selling? Check with Chet Whitsitt.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte PE 581,348, MSRP 21,690, Seltos P 745,838, MSRP 24,840, Soul P 7205,317, MSRP 22,250. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/30/23. Dealer stock only. Warranties and limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I'm ready to get on the road for better days ahead, and I know Kia's the way to go. What do you got over there at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
How about 2023 Kia Forte LXS 41 MPG $249 a month, $27.99 due at signing, or take your pick from these great SUVs. 2023 Seltos LX all-wheel drive, $29.99 due at signing, or a 2023 Kia Soul LX, $27.99 due at signing, only $269 a month, all 36-month lease.
Plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
And if you don't see it, I'll order exactly what you're looking for. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, I want to talk about our seasoning and sauce today. Our sauce is a great blend of sweet, mustard, and vinegar. It's good on so many items other than barbecue. It's good on pizza. People use it in lieu of ketchup. But our seasoning is the original dry rub, created by my father using a mixture of Greek and Cajun spices. People think our sauce and seasoning are good just during the grilling season. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's good year-round. Our seasoning is good on fish, chicken, deviled eggs, corn on the cob, French fries. People even put a dash in a Bloody Mary. To get a complete list of all of our recipes using our products, go to hogsfly.com. Click recipes and you'll see 50 wonderful items and dishes. And Brett, our sauce and seasoning is available at most grocery stores, and if they don't have it, please remind your grocer to stock it. And our slaw is also available at most Kroger stores.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Virgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
It's always fun to talk to the TV voice of the Grizzlies, and I know the score didn't turn out the right way a couple of nights ago, Pete Pranica, but I thought that was one heck of a good ball game, and you had one heck of a good call.
No, thank you. It was a very good game. I had good material to work with. Unfortunately, it didn't go the Grizzlies' way, and so now you're looking at an elimination game. And LeBron James has won 6 of his last 7 elimination games. So we'll see how it plays out. Disappointing. Might have been one of the more disappointing losses in recent memory because everybody felt good going in. You had control of the game in the fourth quarter, and then LeBron James did what LeBron James has done to a lot of teams.
I agree. Everybody is talking about not letting him go to his right. I came on with a suggestion this morning of saying just try to limit any kind of driving from him, whatever that takes with doubles and scrambles. But, the guy is a lot more effective going to the hole than he is from shooting outside, and the numbers in Game 4 would bear that out. From downtown, he was not very effective, but that's easier said than done. And we're talking about a guy who, at 38, is one of the great old athletes of our lifetime. You got to go back. You got to go back to Ted Williams at 39, led the American League in hitting at 388. Brady had 4 Super Bowls after 37, something like that. I mean, there are some great old athletes, but this guy is as good as it gets, and he just made a great play to tie the game up. That was good defense by Jackson, who came over on the help. He had to go way above that square to make that shot.
Yeah, it was a great shot by LeBron. The defense was good, and I know Desmond Bain said, well, maybe we should have been helping, but the fact of the matter is you had Reeves and Hachimura out there to shoot threes.
Right.
LeBron dishes, they make a 3, over. At least you gave up a 2. You go to overtime. You take your chances. It was good defense. It was just a better shot by LeBron James. And not only the 38 years, but Wolo, when you think about playing probably close to 100 plus games a year.
Right.
Now, last couple of years he's been injured, but you're going to the finals every year, or you're playing in the Olympics, and so it's not just the age, it's the miles, and he is remarkably productive. And I think he is kind of settled into, okay, I know what I can do and I know what I can't do anymore. And what he can still do is make winning basketball plays. And he's averaging 13 rebounds a game in the series. The last time he was this good a rebounder was in the 2015 finals, I think, against Golden State. So, he just figures out ways to make winning basketball plays, and that's why he's one of the all-time greats.
Well, you think about this. I'm biased. I think Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time. I always will. And many people think I'm nuts, but I put Bill Russell way up there. And the guy's got 11 rings. That says something. He was battling the best of his era, and it's hard to compare eras. But I think if you look at guys who 20 years this guy is playing with this kind of excellence, I think you could say he's the greatest older NBA athlete of all time. Michael declined more than LeBron did at this age.
True. And, of course, Michael had the break where he played baseball. I don't know how that impacted his later NBA career. But, he's a marvel. He's a marvel. He's always been a freak of nature with the way he's built. I always felt he was like Ronnie Lott playing basketball. He just has that size, that strength, still has a fair amount of speed, loves to play downhill, and you still got to deal with him, and Grizzlies will have to deal with him in an elimination game tonight.
I'm going to ask you about some keys for tonight's Game 5 later, but I want to start with pregame of Game 4. where it almost appeared Taylor Jenkins was prophetic when he talked about his team's immaturity. One, were you a little surprised he was that open? Because Taylor Jenkins is usually very vanilla about what he says, one. And two, it turned out that way with discipline to the game plan, at least according to what Desmond Bain had to say.
Might have been a little bit of a message, might have been a little bit of frustration, because I remember I think after game one, Taylor was saying something about, well, we need to bring a better sense of urgency, and I'm thinking to myself, wait, Lakers at home, game one of a playoff series, why are you not playing with urgency? That kind of struck me as being odd too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was probably a little bit of a message. I don't know how many of the players, would have read or heard those comments, but it wouldn't surprise me that maybe Taylor said it to the players individually. Hey, we have to be more mature. Taylor even told me in one of our conversations, in Grizzlies Live, he says, we try to keep the game plan simple. We don't try to make it crazy hard. We just want them to have good game plan discipline. And that's something that has been lacking at times. And, I think it was. I think that message probably, and I don't know this for sure, Dave, but I think that same message was probably delivered to players individually, maybe in a little different form. But I think the content is there, because I don't think Taylor's not the type of person to tell the players one thing and then say another thing publicly. That doesn't strike me as the way that he would operate, because he has always said that his big strength, his emphasis is on relationships and communication. And so I don't think that anything he said to the media was necessarily all that far from what he probably said to the players.
Well, you've got to maintain relationships because it's a players' league, right? They're the ones making the big money. They got more clout. And so you have to be able to do that. But you also have to have some sort of control on strategy and really setting people up. And so there's a fine line. And that about is as far as I've seen Taylor Jenkins go. So there's probably a little frustration for him in all of this. And then after the game, look, you've covered the Bulls and you've covered the Trailblazers. You were around for grit and grind with those guys. Is there a leadership question on this team? It was very disappointing to me because they love to talk and crow after wins. But when you don't talk after losses and you claim you're the leader, that to me is a lack of leadership. Are you frustrated or worried about that kind of leadership?
I have to admit I'm a little frustrated by it. Look, it's easy to take the podium when you score 45, or when you hit the game-winning shot, or when you're playing really well. But can you stand up there and take the barbs when you don't shoot well and when you don't play well down the stretch? Parenthetically, I was in the room when Rasheed Wallace was finally coerced into doing post-game media in a playoff series, and all he said was, "Both teams played hard." So I've seen that too.
Who is the guy that went up there and said, "I'm only here so I don't get fined"?
Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch. Okay,
Marshawn Lynch. Yeah,
right.
I mean, go up there and throw LeBron his flowers and whatever you want to say, but yeah, to just totally duck out, and for Dylan to do it twice in LA, it is troubling. One thing that I've always felt, this is still like the third youngest team in the NBA, and if you take Steven Adams out of the mix because he's not playing, they may become the youngest team in the NBA by average age. You don't have, outside of Steven Adams, you don't have the OG. And I think this is where you're missing a little bit of what Kyle Anderson brought to the team last year. He could be a stabilizing force. He's been around the Spurs program, been around Greg Popovich, had been around longer than most guys. And I think in some sense you do miss that guy who's been through multiple playoff series, because for this crew, it's basically only a third playoff run, and so it's like 3, 4. It's only their fourth playoff series. So there's and playoff basketball is a totally different animal where every single bounce of the ball can determine whether or not you advance. And that attention to detail sometimes has been lacking. Is that leadership? Is it lack of concentration? Is it youth? It's probably a combination of all those things.
In defense of the Grizz, too, let's face it, they're using two guys at the back of the bench that wouldn't even be in the rotation if Adams and Clark were healthy enough to play. I don't believe,
exactly.
and I don't believe LeBron James would be averaging 13 rebounds a game if those two guys were playing.
Exactly. You're looking at a Lakers team that is totally healthy against a Grizzlies team that is maybe 2/3 healthy. And that is clearly a difference maker. And it's unfortunate because you didn't have Morant for part of the Golden State series last year. And so you get to the postseason, you got guys missing due to injury. And Brandon Clark was a huge factor in the Minnesota series last year. So, I know that people who look at this superficially, if the Grizzlies don't advance, hey, a 2-seed lost to a 7. Oh, wait a second. The Lakers are one of the best teams in the league after Christmas. Certainly after the trade deadline. They're not your typical 7 seed. And, this might be more like a 4-5 type matchup. Look, the Lakers got one surefire Hall of Famer, and I would imagine Anthony Davis is probably going to end up there too. They're fully stocked and loaded, and they have all that playoff experience far more than the Grizzlies do. So you take it all with a grain of salt, but, yeah, I still think the Grizzlies are going to come out with a lot of fire. Last year they were down 3-1 at home to Golden State and blew out the Warriors and forced the game out in San Francisco. So hopefully it's a repeat of history tonight.
Yeah, I get that sense that that's very possible that will occur. You mentioned Dylan Brooks, who's unfortunately become a focal point in this series because he opened up his mouth and inserted his foot. Two things. Has he become a distraction? That's one. Two, do you think he regrets making that statement about the age of LeBron?
Well, number one, I don't know. Look, not being in the locker room and talking to those guys on a daily basis, and certainly they're not going to tell me if they feel he's a distraction. I think everybody in the locker room has everybody's back. Would they have preferred that Dylan maybe not say that? I think that would be a common refrain. Does Dylan regret it? I don't think Dylan regrets it. I mean, he's unapologetic, and this is who he is. Again, privately, those comments probably should have remained private rather than so public as to say he's old. And I poke bears. It certainly was not helpful. Let's just put it that way.
No doubt. All right, last thing for Pete Pranica, TV voice of the Grizz. You can hear him tonight on Valley Sports South, and that's the biggest key or two for tonight.
Well, the obvious is make shots. I mean, The Grizzlies shot 39% in the 2 games in L.A. So I go back to something Taylor Jenkins said, too, because this Lakers team is averaging 9 block shots a game. Don't play in crowds. Make quick decisions so that you don't get into those tough situations. And also transition defense has to be good. This Laker team is averaging 18 fast break points per game, which leads the entire postseason. So transition defense, play quickly and not in crowds, and you're going to have to hit some threes to open up that paint a little bit. So I think you do those 3 things, I think you give yourself a real good chance to earn a trip back to Los Angeles.
Yeah, those fast break points, the way they press it really, you got to get back for sure. Pete, always a pleasure. We'll do this again next Wednesday.
Sounds good, Dave.
Thank you. Pete Pranica, TV voice of the Grizz. He's brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team. They do insurance collaboratively. In other words, Matt and his team are going to sit down and get to know you and your family if you're looking for auto or home or life insurance. If you've got a small to mid-sized business, hello, that's the Eflin Insurance Team specialty. They will get to know your employees. They'll get to know your absolute needs, maybe your product, and forecast it out. And then they'll find the right protection for your company. And in both cases, home, auto, commercial, They're going to find out what your budget is to protect you the best way they can. 901-386-GER. That's 4777 because they're big Tiger fans. They use GER. 901-386-4777. Get protected with the Eflin Insurance team. Back in a minute, we make golf picks. Johnny Lyon standing by. Austin Chin filling in for Mickey Barker. They are next.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the Little Red Tractor from Case IH, the Farmall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find a Case IH Farmall that's right for you.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text JUDGE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text JUDGE to 321-321. That's JUDGE to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
All right, time to make some golf picks. Johnny Lyon had a good week last week in a tough situation with the teams. I think Mickey and I did not do so well. J-Mo was in second last week. This is reversed order of the way we are going to go. I think it's pretty safe that my $6 million advantage is going to keep me in last place for a long time. Mickey Barker, unfortunately, could not make today because of a death of I guess, one of his friends, so he's out of town. But Austin Chin will ably fill in, and Johnny Lyon, who had that big week last week, as always, joins us, the former publisher of Mid-South Golfer. Good morning, gentlemen. Austin, I'll start with you. This usually is tough to find a guy that you think could compete that's not in the top 50, but this week, almost everybody's not in the top 50. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you doing?
We're doing well. Did you find the research easy or difficult?
It was pretty easy this week.
You got your guys in mind?
I think I do. I really do.
All right. Also, we should point Austin is one of the guys in charge of spreading the gospel, the PR for Memphis City Golf. What are you most looking forward to this coming season besides the opening of Pine Hill, which I know you can't tell me when it opens because Mickey can never tell me?
Yeah, we're very excited about Pine Hill. I was out there yesterday, flying the drone, walking around, just making sure it's going to be ready. I think the thing I'm most excited about this year has got to be probably two things.
Okay.
It's the 75th year of the Overton Park Junior Open.
Oh, wow.
And that's in July. Free to all kids ages 8 to 17. And second is going to be our parent-child tournament.
Oh, really?
That's also at Overton Park. Mm-hmm.
And like how old are the kids? Is there a minimum of age? Could my 31-year-old son and I compete?
Absolutely. There are no age restrictions for this event. Wow. And so it's something I feel like it's less competitive, more on memory making with your loved ones.
Wow. All right. This is if you don't know the answer, that's cool because I'm coming out of left field. But out of all these years, 75 years, who would be the most famous winner of the OPO? And Johnny Lyon may know this one.
Oh, my gosh. Did you ever play in it?
No, I've never. I didn't grow up here. Johnny Lyon, I think, did.
Cliff Frisbee, I'd have to guess. I know he played in it every year. I played in it about 6 years, starting around 1960.
Kerry Middlecoff would have been too old for the beginning of that, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Think so.
I'm trying to think of did guys like Bobby Cochran, Doug Barron, did they ever play in the OPO?
Kirk Bailey, maybe.
Kirk Bailey did, yeah, I think so. That's something, Austin. You got to figure that one out. Johnny Lyon,
you're right.
Do you have any trouble with this week? Because there's only two guys I think in the top 50, which just goes to show you.
Yeah,
and I'm worried about this with the designated events. If it's not a designated event with that big $3.6 million for the winner, these guys aren't going to show up.
Yeah, well, I was looking pretty good last week. On the first day, I had 3 out of the top 4 on the leaderboard, and the Fitzpatrick brothers fell off a little bit.
Yeah,
Patrick Cantley kind of let Xander down, and Keith Mitchell sort of let Son J.M. down, but I did pretty good. All my guys made the cut, 4th, 6th, and 19th. So anyway.
No, you won the week. You sit at 2,909,000, so almost 3 million. J-Mo is just slightly ahead of you by about 20,000. Mickey is at 3.27 mil, so he's got about a 300,000 lead on you two guys, and then I'm at $9.5 million. Sitting pretty, which means I go last, and Johnny, you go first. Do you want me to just put John Rahm down?
Yeah, just put John Rahm down. I can't pass on him.
No, everybody in the field, in the experts' picks and there's not one person did not pick John Rahm to win this tournament. J-Mo, you're second.
I'm going to throw a little curveball into the action. I'm not going to take Tony Finau. I'm going to go down the list a little bit. I'm going to take Wyndham Clark with the second pick.
You know, I was going to take Wyndham Clark, and the reason I was going to take him was because this morning I got a message from Wyndham Hotels, and I thought, oh, my gosh, that's it. I got to take – Wyndham Clark's going to win this thing.
It's an omen.
All right. Wyndham Clark for JMO, which gets us to Austin Chen picking for Mickey Barker.
Well, I have to go Tony Finau then.
Of course
I didn't
you do.
think he'd be available at the 3.
I did not either. That's JMO being JMO.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I guess then I'll go with Patrick Rogers. Why not? I don't feel great about it, but he's the highest rated guy after that. So I'll go with Patrick Rogers. Johnny, who you going next?
Next, I'm taking Grillo, Emmanuel Grillo.
All right. Emiliano Grillo goes to Johnny. JMO?
I am going to take Ben On with my second pick this week.
Byung-Hoon An?
Yeah, Ben On.
On. All right. Austin?
Let's see. Patrick Rogers got stolen.
I took him, yeah.
Man. I'm going to go Joseph Bramlett.
Joseph Bramlett?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I watched a nice YouTube video of him the other day.
That is out of left field. I'm going to go because I think Alex Noren actually is in the top 50. He may be the third guy. I'm going to go Alex Noren. And then now this has to be over 50, which most of these guys are. Anyway, Johnny?
Taking S.H. Kim.
S.H. Kim. JMO?
I'm going to go another Ben. I'm going to go Ben Martin with my third pick.
Oh, I was taking Ben Martin. You're killing me today. Austin?
Oh, let's see. I've got 2 guys I want to pick. I'm pretty sure I'm going to lean on Maverick McNeely.
Okay, that's a good pick. I think I'm going to go... I don't think I want to go Hogard. I could go Bo Hostler. I don't feel good about him. I'm going to go Aaron Rye.
Yeah, Aaron
exactly.
Still on the list.
Aaron Rye. All right. So, Johnny's got Rom, Grillo, and Kim. JMO's got Clark, On, and Martin. Austin picking for Mickey's got Finau, Bramlett out of left field, and Maverick McNeely. I've got Rogers, I've got Noren, and I've got Aaron Rye. Guys, thank you very much. Austin, I know we'll be talking more soon about some new copy points because we're so happy to have Memphis Public Golf back on as a sponsor on this show. And also just to talk about all the great things like 75th anniversary of OPO and the opening of Pine Hill. Thank you much, Austin, for filling in today.
Good to hear your voice, sir. Austin. Thank you, Wolo.
Yes, sir. See ya.
You got it. Thank you, guys. That'll do it for us. This portion of the show brought to you by Conway. Call the pros at Conway. Save up to $1,000 on select new energy-efficient HVAC systems. They're expensive, but you can save $1,000 if you call 384-3511, and you'll receive a free whole home air purification system. Those really do make the air cleaner, like you won't get up and have to blow your nose all the time. It makes a difference. Request your free consultation or get a second opinion today. Again, 384-3511, or you can visit conwayservices.com. That'll do it for us. Tomorrow will be fun. Russell Copeland on the NFL. The draft is tomorrow night. We'll also talk to Steve Earhart on a myriad of topics, including they've set the new schedule for what it will look like when they expand the playoffs with dates and championship games, and also an update on the stadium. And then, as always, Jarvis Greer will end our Thursday. So that's tomorrow. Johnny Radio is next. Have a great day, everybody. See you at FedEx Forum.
Inventory is arriving daily at Gossett Mitsubishi.